And we are live. What is going on, legend? But welcome back to Beyond the 90 Therapy, because we need it this game. Got a fantastic stacked panel for you, so from fantastic guests, Alex, Chris, Robert, Leicester Live ITV, Jeff from Foxhawk Report, and we got brilliant Alex. Where should we start?
Wow, geez, throwing it right at me. Apparently, where do we start? There's a lot we could talk about, but so I missed the game yesterday because apparently I was golfing. So I had to watch the highlights, but thank goodness I didn't have to watch all 90 minutes because even in the highlights, I didn't see any drive. There was no passion. There was zero effort. It just looked like a bunch of discombobulated players that were just trying to do something and, throwing something at the wall and hoping that it stuck.
Yeah, it was a little bit like that for large parts of the game, unfortunately. Chris, I know you watched the game. Going into the game, looking at, again, the formation, we normally go to the formations, and we look at, again, the 3-5-2. Was it the right formation to set up with, to be honest?
Obviously not. You go into this game and you've won it once in 33 attempts. We won away there. So we're probably not going to get anything of it from it. But it's just the way that we play. We just say no passion. Don't mind losing if you go down fighting. And is it just the fans that I have nothing against Marty. I think he did well for us last season, but he had a bad game in that position against Brentford. And yet he's there again against Arsenal in the same position, for God's sake. It doesn't take a genius to work these things out.
Yeah, it really doesn't. And Jeff, coming on to Soyuncu is if you're going to play 3-5-2, surely Soyuncu is the out-and-out replacement. I don't know if there's been falling outs. I don't know. But when you're looking at Bukayo Saka, and to be fair, Daniel Amartey did well considering Bukayo Saka is, honestly, on his days, absolutely unplayable. He did all right. But on that left position, you would have thought Soyuncu is that guy, right?
Yeah, just going off the previous performances by Soyuncu, some would say sit him on the bench. But seeing how Amartey in these past two games has just been playing all right at moments, but mostly not that good at times, you would want to give him a chance now for Soyuncu. And particularly, you usually have Amartey on the right side rather than the left. So Soyuncu is the most confident player on that side. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree there. Tom, again, welcome back. Twice in 1 week, mate. Great to have you on again. Who are you? Who for you in that game was individually was the person that you found one of the players that let you down? Because for me, there's quite a few.
Yeah, I think that's right. It's difficult to pick out an individual because I think it's more of a. It's more that just I don't feel like we've started the season with no identity. What's our plan? What's our plan for this season? We're obviously you can pick out Ward, and I feel a bit sorry for the guy. I do, but none of us I think ever thought he was going to be our answer as our number one keeper. So I think you could pick that up. But it feels like we're just starting the season with a lot of the same problems as last year, just thinking they're just going to go away. They're not just going to go away unless we address them. And Rodgers isn't doing that. He's just it's more of the same. It's deja vu, and that's what it feels like for a lot of us. So without any new players and without any sort of change in system or tactics, it's difficult to know. Well, it's difficult to see how we're going to improve from last year. If anything, we're going to get worse.
In terms of some of the players as well, and just again as a point I'll put to you, Alex. Again, Charlie put a great point. I'll make sure to bring up on screen now. In terms of guys, it's a really good point you mentioned. It's time the players. So the players that are come back. So Ricardo, again, Justin and Diddy. I'd kind of put Tillemans in that as well. I think he's right. There's nowhere near the level of there's levels that we know they can be, especially with somebody like Ndidi, who again is phenomenal. We know how good Ndidi is. They just don't. He makes a good point. It's like we've lost £150 worth of talent for no money. There's so many players that just are not hitting it. I would take the exception of Justin out maybe a little bit, but for example, Ndidi, for me, it's surprising how the levels have dropped, and I guess it's just disappointing.
No, it's the truth. Like with Ricardo, like he's the ghost of his former self. Like I don't think you're ever going to see, anywhere close to the levels that he was at. It's going to seem like he's going to have a career riddled with injuries, and that's brutal in its own way. But knowing that we have just recently re-signed him to a longer term contract is just, that's something that's going to, I think, really affect the club long term. And then when you name Ndidi, that's another one. It just seems like he's with whatever happened when he's been dealing with injury. That's been one thing, but when he came back, he looks lost. I don't know if that's all the issues going on within the midfield and within and whatnot. With Tielemans acting the way that he's been doing and playing, and it's just like those are two players, but you can look at a whole bunch of players. Evans doesn't look like he was prior to all his injuries. Fofana's he's out to lunch. Let's be serious here. Justin is getting there, but he's not there. Barnes is a player that seems to be constantly getting injured, picking up like little nicks and cuts and like light injuries throughout the season. Vardy's getting older, so you can't really, he can only do so much. And then Maddison, he's been exceptional. Like there's been no complaints with Maddison. But if he picks up an injury, it's going to take him time to get back into that, back into where he is at right now. And then I feel like you're picking people up. Castagna had, injury problems last season. He's slowly picking it up, but I don't still think he's still at where he should be. I basically named half the players on the squad if you look at it. And that's a huge, that's a great cause for concern, We've talked about it, I feel like, time and time again. Oh, okay, we clearly have an injury problem, and if the doctors can't figure this out, and we've gotten new doctors, like we're doing everything we can in order to get this figured out, but like we're running into this situation where it's getting bad, like, and then we're choosing not to play players that clearly have fallen out of favor with Rodgers, and we're willing to even risk a player that has a higher likelihood of getting injured than playing a specific player, Vestergaard. It is what it is. It's tough. It's bloody tough.
Yeah, it is tough at the moment. And again, Chris, just on the back of, again, considering some of the players, we've talked about levels, and Didi's one of them. Another one, as Alex mentioned, Fofana. I mean, coming into this game, there was so many. We know the levels of Fofana can hit. He's a great player. Is it his head's been turned? Because there's no other way to describe it. And again, Arsenal fans were saying Martinelli was that much great, and he was great today. However, there can be two things at the same time, and I just don't think that Fofana was anywhere near the levels that we know he can be. And also, he's competed on a consistent level for game after game after game, so we know he can do it.
I mean, his head is bound to be turned. If you've heard rumours that another company wants to, take you on board and offer you extra money, you're not going to dismiss it and then not think about it. I just wonder, are we? I mean, were we that? I mean, yes, we were bad. Don't get me wrong, but were Arsenal just too good for us? Look at the side that they've got. Look at the players that they've brought in. I said they'll finish fourth. Most people, I think, have got them top four, unless you're an Arsenal fan and you've still got things to moan about. But, that has to be taken into account of who we were playing. The first 45 against Brentford, I actually thought, bloody hell, this looks like the old Leicester. Thought we were back. And then it has gone wrong. But I'm just wondering, I think there's a lot of questions to be asked, because not only about the management, but if we negotiated that we're going to get a head of recruitment in, that can't come until the end of the transfer window. Who the bloody hell sorted that out at the club? They must have seen us come in Southampton and went, hey, guess what we can do? And that's buggered up our transfer window, whatever that was going to be. We've got finally supposed to be getting a set piece coach coming in, who apparently has got visa problems. I can't get into the country. I know it's Leicester, but I'm just wondering where it's ending.
Yeah, I'm with you. And again, it's just been a summer of like summer of nothing really. Summer of hot weather, and that's about it. And then summer of Smithies. I think that's all we've got so far. And but in terms of we were at the game, obviously we keep mentioning it, but still, in terms of Fofana when he came over to us, I think we both said again he was into it, and he came over specifically. It seems like his mind, not just his mind made up. That felt like he went over specifically without any of the other squad and was going to say goodbye. It felt like.
To be fair, though, have you seen that he was going to walk straight down the tunnel and Brendan Rodgers grabbed him to go over to the fans? He was going to walk straight down the tunnel. So I'm not going to look into it too much. And to be honest, I don't really understand why he'll be that emotional about leaving. He's played in front of the crowd for one season. The rest of it has been behind closed doors. It's not as if he's got that like proper relationship with Leicester. But can I just go back to something that Chris said? That I'm like, clip this, guys, because I'm actually going to agree with Chris here. But it's, I know it's a strange one.
What time is it? 11 minutes 08. Right, okay.
It's like we've always struggled to go to the Emirates. Like even when they were absolutely dog and we were good, we still struggled. When we won the league, we struggled to go to the Emirates. And it's like I just look at those like that's a game that we were going to struggle with. Like no matter how we set up, it was always going to be a game that was going to be difficult. Even if Brendan Rodgers got the tactics absolutely perfect, it was still going to be a game that you need a bit of luck to be able to get anything from. I don't think he got the tactics perfect, but it's like with those kind of games, it's like they are. Is it just too much to say they were just the better team than us for that one?
Yes, but Jeff, what do you think? Was it the better team, or can there be a narrative of they were great, we were not?
Well, just knowing how we play, it's very tough to just convince ourselves saying Arsenal were the better team because we had our moments, but we just weren't focused during those times, and we made terrible decisions, and we gave away 2 easy goals that were literally a minute apart from the time we scored. So it's just like it's literally just like amateur football right there for like that minute after scoring. Like, how do you not focus on defending after you just scored and just know that they're gonna come hard at you for the next 2 minutes, and then that just happens. So yeah, it's Arsenal won the game, so Arsenal were the better team. We were just stupid.
But it's just game management again, Jeff.
Yeah.
In terms of like game management, this is something we've been saying for going back, and not even that long ago, to the Newcastle game where we lost the game in the dying moments of the game. Tottenham again, the beginning of the year. This isn't a new issue. Yeah, it keeps happening. It's not a new issue, is it, Jeff?
No, not at all. And it sucks to like try to tell yourself that you're not that kind of team that's gonna give away a goal so quickly, but it's looking like that.
I think for me, like doing it once is bad enough, but you can say, okay, you know, it happens. Like, but to do it again in the same game, like, and it just kills you because you're like, we're back in this. Come on, like momentum change. Like we're like Foxes never quit, etc., etc. And then a minute later it's done. And like I say, like for it to happen twice in the same game, I don't remember that. I don't remember seeing that very often in any match, not just a Leicester match. Like it's criminal, and it points to something wider than just a lapse of concentration. Maybe for me, like, and I think just going back to that point of those players that have come back from injury and haven't progressed or haven't got back to their level, I think it points to not only as having no new signings, it's not pushing the first team, because obviously if someone comes in and you think they're going to take your place, that puts you under threat, and it makes it in a way makes you kind of step up your level to keep your pace in the team. So we've got that problem, but then also on top of that, like going back to what Chris said, Marty keeping his place or whoever it is, even within the squad there isn't that competition, because it's like I don't know what it takes sometimes for Rodgers to give someone a chance. Like for me, I think Kelechi is a perfect example of someone who every time he's come into the team, normally because of injuries or whatever, he steps up. Like he proves himself again and again and again, and yet he cannot get a start for love nor money. And like with this Bard's getting injured. We're having to change our system. We the whole of preseason we were trying something else, like something different to what we're doing now. I think it's like for me the system when you got Vardy up front on his own and two wing backs, there's not very much width. It's not working. And for me, like when Daka and Kelechi came on this day, we went to two up top. It did make a bit of a difference, and we looked more of a threat. And I think that's the problem. It's like those players in the first 11, their positions aren't under threat, neither by new players or by the players on the bench. And so it's just too easy for them to make mistakes, and if not to cost them their place in the team.
And that's a massive. Sorry,
I'll just say something for what Tom said there, but sort of add to what he said. He said about when we went two up top. I also thought having Praet coming on, he was transitioning the ball from defence to attack, because it felt like there was such a big gap in between Vardy and then the midfield. So like we'll get the ball into the midfield before, but then it was just almost either looking for wing backs, but because we were sitting so deep with the wing backs, we were waiting and waiting for them to get forward, and they were too far deep to get involved going forward, or it was just looking for a long ball over the top for Vardy and hope, almost sort of like out of ideas, hope for the best kind of thing.
Other than last point from me for a little while. Other than Dewsbury Hall, who was like forced their way into the team like from the squad in the last 2-3 seasons? Like who was like being sort of a bench player, being a squad player, and forced their way into the team and made Brendan pick him on a regular basis?
James Justin.
Yeah,
actually,
it was only the injury to Ricardo.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that.
So it's like it's so hard to get your way into this team. Like even though for 18 months we haven't been playing very well, like you must be sat on the bench thinking, what on earth have I got to do to get some game time here? Like, yeah,
it's like you say. It's almost like he's got a set sort of, I'd say, 14 players that he'll rely on, and then anyone else you might as well go and hand in a transfer request.
Yeah.
Well, one of the players you look at is Nacho. Like when Vardy got injured, he came into the team and he was like, "I'm going to take this," and he ran with it. Like incredible run of games. Vardy gets better, disappears, like can't get into the team whatsoever. And like for me, when I look at someone like Nacho, I think, okay, he has the skill. Why don't you play him? Change up the formation, do whatever you want. He can do it if he gets a good run of games. Like there is a very good possibility, but it just seems like Rodgers is stuck in his stubborn ways to be like, nope, doesn't matter. I'm going to play Vardy. I'm going to play, I'm going to play Tielemans. I'm going to play Ndidi. I'm going to play all these players that might not be producing. Vardy is getting, like I said before, Vardy's getting older. He's just not going to be playing at the same caliber that he played before. Tielemans is, I don't even want to get started on him because it's just atrocious as to what's going on with that. And I've said it before, indeed, he just doesn't look like he's all there. You have Maddison who comes in and is just, he's been fired the 2 games that he's been in this season. Like, in my opinion, he's been the best player on the pitch.
Do you think with Nacho, though, that I don't think he can operate as a lone striker? I think he's got to have somebody now. Yesterday's game, Vardy was not getting the service. It wasn't working with a fast-paced striker up front. So he brings Daka on. And he's got 2 fast-paced strikers up front. Then when he takes Vardy off, he then brings Iheanacho on and he sets up for a goal. We know that season at the end when we finished 5th, Iheanacho was our top goal scorer because he was playing alongside Vardy as a front 2. And then as soon as that next season started, Iheanacho was dropped and was never to be seen again. If I was Nacho, I'd be knocking on the door saying, I want out of there. Because he's been treated like a piece of shit, to be honest with you. But again, it only seems that the fans can see this and not the manager.
The strange thing is as well, Chris, is with Nacho, like, I don't think he'll be short of offers either if he wanted to go, but he seems quite content here as well, which I can't quite understand. But me and Neil have had this conversation 1,000,001 times. He's not like that number 9, and he's not like that number 10. He's like, I call him a 9.5, but it's like he's that perfect player to play off the striker. But it's like you say, you can't just have him up top by himself because everything just like he's one of those players. He can hold the ball up. He brings other people into the game, and he's also a very good finisher. But the problem is that for him, it must show like his confidence must be absolutely shot because he can come in, drop a 10 out of 10, and then you'll be back on the bench next week.
For me, it's like if Barnes is fit and we don't really have a right winger in who's holding his place in the team. But if you've got two wingers, apparently Brendan's favourite system is 4-2-3-1. Fine, like that's the system. There's only room for one up top, and it's still Vardy for the time being. Okay, when injuries happen, you have to change that system. You go three at the back. For me, it needs to be Maddison behind two strikers to give Vardy a bit of help. Like, and Kelechi is that man. So because we don't have the width, so to cause teams problems, it's helpful to have two up front, and so I think that's what stumps me a bit is like if we're going to play this way, then can we just get Kelechi up there and have a bit more going on rather than you're asking Vardy to do like so much on his own, and he's 35 or whatever, like he's not up to it anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I was just disappointed with the way. So I've got a few players down that. So I've got players that were well under par, and I put in Diddy, Fofana, Tielemans, and then I've got another bracket of people that I usually rely on that kind of let me down. And it kills me to say that Evans was one of them. Evans was ran ragged by Jesus for the majority of the match, to be honest. Another one of them is Vardy. He looked like a passenger for the majority of the game. And when the ball was linking around, I was the other side of the pitch, but I was like,
but would Jesus on that form that he showed yesterday, would he not run 99% of the defenders ragged in the Premier League? And what service was Vardy getting?
Yeah.
The thing is, sorry to cut you off, Neil. A couple of things. Like the way Jesus was, Evans could have if you couldn't get near him, just kick him, go through him at least once, let him know you're there. He was always very passive, and I know Evans is that ultimate professional who probably won't do that, but it's just like, let him know that you're there. Don't let him have it all his own way, because he is a brilliant player, and we saw that yesterday, but it seemed way too comfortable. It's like, I'll be honest, I'm not the best at football, and if someone's running me ragged when I'm playing, I'll give them a proper kick. But so I know it's like different levels of that, but you know what I mean? Just let him know that you're there, because he was just so passive yesterday. And then with Vardy, like, as much as we love Vardy and like there was very limited service, I feel like sometimes, and like before he would do it a lot more, but he's not doing it as much now. He would make something happen himself. He would get involved in the game himself. Like, to be purely relying on the service of other players, I think and I know people won't like this, I feel like he needs to do more as well to get involved with the games.
He shouldn't be guaranteed of a starting spot every week at 34, 35. Like, come on, like, let's. He can be an impact player. He doesn't have to be like, if he's not in form, we've got Dako, we've got Kelechi or whatever. Like, I think this is partly it as well. When we won the league, it's hard not to go back to it, but we had a starting 11 who played every week, and we had 3 or 4 subs who we could bring on, and that was the strength of our squad. That was it. And since then, obviously not so much this year, but we built a better squad. We've got more talent in the team, but Rodgers just doesn't seem to know how to use it. Like, and so it's confusing to watch week in, week out when you see players who don't deserve to still be starting, still getting a shot, or the systems to be changing in ways that don't really make sense, or the subs like we saw against Brentford to not make sense. It's like he's stubborn, and he doesn't really know who to trust or what to do in certain situations.
To give credit to Brendan, though, again, I don't give too much credit to him, but the subs he made worked. When Vardy came off, and we played 2 up top with Nacho and Dacho and Naka and Nacho, when they both came on, that helped the game. Tielemans, I was surprised. I literally shook Ant physically. I went, he's made the sub that I wanted him to make. When Tielemans came off for Praet, because I literally couldn't believe it. And so again, credit to him for making them changes. But in terms of Tielemans, Jeff. I mean, Tielemans, this was his game to shine. If he wanted that move and he's agreed personal terms with Arsenal, he should be he should be having pot shots from outside the box. He should be smashing the ball. He should be smashing into their players going, right, I am here. I'm at the Arsenal ground. And the fans would go, Yuri Tielemans, we want you. The managers there, I don't know the capacity, is it 70,000 for the Arsenal ground? Again, you can't tell because terrible atmosphere, but there's a lot of people there to impress. Tielemans was a passenger for long periods of that game.
Yeah, definitely starstruck being in the Emirates and just knowing that all the fans, all the media have been talking about you apparently going to Arsenal. But I'm a big fan of Dennis Praet, and if he can't pull his full potential on the pitch, then put in Praet and he will do his job. Though I know he's at fault for the fourth goal. I think he should start though, either in the middle or the left side, but he wants to be here.
Can I just say something about Praet there? Because he seems to have made up with Brendan. He left because he wasn't getting the game time. And I almost feel like the team were...
Oh,
he couldn't do anything to save the game. And then he can turn around and say, told you it wasn't very good.
Right. I was thinking that too. When he made that mistake, I was like there we go. Like
I actually felt sorry for Praet when he came on.
He gives you something. He gives you something different, and the energy increased in that midfield.
I love him as a player. I totally love him as a player, but I just think Brendan hung him out to dry yesterday.
Yeah, and for no reason whatsoever. At least he's come out publicly and say, look, it's not worked out. I'm not going to move, but I'm committing myself to the team. Fofana hasn't even said that, and even he signed a contract. Tielemans hasn't said that. So give his credit where he's due. And again, I don't mind him giving the ball away in a silly position because we have a defense, we have a CDM to kind of try and tidy that up. But a job of that person is to try and create those. And it might not work, it might do, but if we do get a goal, we don't complain. So it's giving him that opportunity, that license to go and be your best self. And you are going to lose and Brendan said it before, go and lose the ball, no problem. As long as you keep doing that and you keep trying. As soon as you don't try, then I take you off. Well, that's what he said. I don't think that's actually what's happened. But I'm glad to see he finally got some minutes because I think he's been one of our best players in preseason.
I think just trying to contextualize where we're at as well right now. Like with that point against Brentford, okay, we played pretty well for 60 minutes, and then we threw it away, and Brendan, was to blame for that really. We saw how they played against United, so they're in a good spot right now, and we drew that game yesterday. Like Ant and Chris said, Arsenal away in the shape that they're in. Don't think none of us would have expected to get anything from that game, really. So, other than dropping those 2 points, we're sort of where we were expected to be. I think it's more just like it's difficult to get excited about the season ahead right now, because we know that we're kind of stagnating. Even Brendan said, I wanted to sign players. That's not happened. So we need to all lower our expectations. And it's like, well, great. It's difficult to really to get excited about about anything that's going ahead this season. So I think there's just a general sense of we're probably going to be around mid-table. We're probably gonna, we're gonna go backwards slightly from where we were last season, and even more than 2 seasons before. So that's why there's just this sort of negative feeling, and there's no new players to get excited about either. So I think positionally we're not in, and it's not awful. We didn't even play awful. It's more just a general feeling of what's going on around the club.
The biggest concern that I have though is that I feel like we've been echoing this and raising this concern for 18 months. It's something that it hasn't been 4 or 5 weeks for there's a little bit of concern. I remember speaking to Neil last year October, being there's lots of concern here. We're not doing what we should be doing. And it's it seems like every week, and even the games that we would win, we could pull off a 2-1 win and be yeah, we won, but there's concerns. We still gave up, a goal off a corner. We still did this. We still did that. And then you go into the summer being, expecting these promises, quote unquote, from Rodgers being like, yeah, we're going to get a turnaround. And then it's just like, oh no, we just want to do a rebuilding mentality. And then being like, we'll figure this out. And then our only signing is our third keeper. And you have players like Tielemans, who hasn't signed a contract, but also at the same time hasn't left yet. So he's in this limbo. You have the Fofana saga that is just messy to begin with. You have injuries galore that just seems to have flooded over from last season. It's just this constant, like, it's the same roller coaster that you can't get off of. And every time you think there's a glimmer of hope, it's just like, just lying. By the way, this new thing has occurred that we talked about 6 months ago that we were like, this should probably be a concern. Yeah, the summer of malarkey is perfect way to describe it.
Sorry, I just had to bring that one up because I was like, that was brilliant. Shout out, Ethan. That was brilliant.
Do you think, I mean, for me, when we got Ranieri in, everybody was saying, and I can remember reading this thing from this Italian, I think, sports journalist or psychologist, whatever it was, said that Ranieri always has one excellent season when he goes into a club, and then after that, it starts to go wrong. And look what happened. We had one excellent season, and it started to go wrong when he got his own. Even if I dare mention those two words, Peter Taylor did absolutely brilliantly with the squad that he was left with by Martin O'Neill. But when he started tinkering, it all went wrong. And people have been saying that Brendan Rodgers has this third-year syndrome where it starts to go wrong in the third season. And I'm saying, well, yeah, give him a chance. Maybe he's not been given a third year enough. But I'm beginning to worry now. And he seems to be putting the blame on everybody else but himself. And that, I don't like that. You're a manager of whether it's a team of salespeople or footballers. You are a manager. You manage those players. You've been here 3 seasons. That should be a team that you want to play. You've had a chance to get the players in. If you haven't been able to get the players in, then as a manager, you look at the players that you've got and you want to get the best out of them. And if they can't work out how you want to play or they can't fit into that system, and let's face it, if they're used to playing one way, it's not just easy to turn around and change and play another way, then you should be playing to the strengths of those players that you've got. And whatever you say about Ranieri and his second year, etc., that first season he came in and he didn't mess about a lot with that team, did he? It was virtually the team and the starting lineup. And I don't think Brendan's doing that. He's not getting the best out of the players that he's got. And he's I'm really getting worried now. And I know Ant's going to have a big smile on his face when I'm talking like this. But I am beginning to question him now. And when you start blaming everybody else, that is usually the first sign that things are not going right. And this season as well, we've got the World Cup in the middle of this. And I think a lot of owners will be looking at where their clubs are middle of November when we break up for the World Cup and thinking, we can get a new manager in now. He's got 4 weeks to get used to the squad that haven't gone to the World Cup. He's then got a
lot of ours, Chris.
Yeah. Then he's got a week back before the January transfer window. And I think a lot of managers will be watching their backs at the start of the World Cup. If you go. And if it carries on like this, who knows? We know our owners can be ruthless. Look at Ranieri.
Can I just echo something? Can I just say something really quick? Just with Chris's comment about Rodgers blaming everybody but himself. I think there was a comment yesterday that he said in the post-match where he said, the players that we have, they're just not experienced enough, to play, in these certain situations in the Premier League. And we were talking about this off, before we started recording, and my first reaction to that was just like you can't make that excuse. The players that are currently playing in the squad are players that you brought in. Like, time and time again, Rodgers has been someone who has passed the buck over to somebody else, being like, well, the players didn't do it. Oh, the supporters are being a little bit too much here. Oh, this doesn't happen. Oh, we don't have the funds. It's like, at the end of the day, if you can't get the players that you've brought in, the players that are currently at the club, into a strong performing team, then you got to go. And I feel like we're at this crossroads, and I feel like we've been at this crossroads for a while, if I'm going to be brutally honest, where it's been like, you either figure it out or get out of here. But we've been stuck at this. I feel like we've been stuck here for like 6 to 8 months now. I really believe it, and I think it's just getting. I'm gone. Like I'm already at the station wishing him goodbye. But like, it's just it's mind blowing. You know, if you know, a lot of people have said, "Oh, well, Rodgers is one of the best managers in the world." You're like, well, if he is, then show it, prove it. Because right now, you know, I'd be stumped if a championship, you know, level squad would want to take him.
It just, I saw that.
That was really good. I will get to. Sorry, I'm just bringing up some comments again. Thank you for all your comments. There's just so many good points to get through. I think there's one from George. I've lost it now. George, it was good to meet you as well. I know me and Anne met you yesterday, so it's like, "Hi, mate, how are you?" And because we normally see pictures like this, I'm like, "Sorry, mate, yeah, I don't know who you are." Oh, cool. Put a name to a face, you know. So yeah, great to meet you yesterday as well, mate.
Can I just say something quickly about one of the points that was brought up, which is I can't even remember who made the point, but it's saying like if we look at the season now, like we're probably only 2 points behind where we would expect to be, and it's like my problem isn't losing to Arsenal, if I'm completely honest. It's how you lose to them. It's like if you're going to lose to them, make them really work for that win. And the problem that we had is we conceded a corner, which was an absolute gift of a goal for them. That was an absolute. That needs to be cleared front post. Vardy flicks it on and gets. Again, you could watch 1,000,001 post matches all done, but Vardy up front post is just a strange one, to be honest. But so we concede a set piece goal. Then we concede, obviously, the one from Danny Ward, which, as I said quite a few times, Danny Ward had a good game yesterday, apart from that moment. But unfortunately, that will be the moment that sticks out for everyone. Because of like it's the position of a goalkeeper. If you make a mistake like that, it is what's going to be highlighted. But then to concede twice from just after kickoff when you've just scored, like that's where my issue is. Not the fact that we lost to Arsenal; it's how we lost to Arsenal. It's like, and that's the same with Brentford. It's like if we were in a really close game with Brentford. And it was 2-2, and like we'd really struggled to contain them. Then fair enough, but it's the fact that we get into these positions and then we just throw it away.
I think that 10 million. Yeah, I agree. I do agree, and I think that 10 million a year to shift the blame comment resonates with us all a bit, because I think we're all getting a bit sick and tired of Brendan's excuses and blame it and shifting the blame. And like last year was, we can't defend set pieces because we don't have any time on the training pitch because of Europe. And how long did it take to concede from a corner this season? 90, a game and a half. Arsenal didn't concede from a corner all of last season. Just remember that. Like they might be better players than us, but they did not concede from a corner all season. And it took us a game.
And they're not a big squad. They're not a physically big squad either.
No, like they've got a set piece coach or whatever. But like, we've had all preseason now, so you can't use that excuse anymore. The Brentford game, I think the players looked a bit fatigued. Mate, you've got 5 subs. Like how many times? Like seriously, or like. So I think we're just getting it. It's just like a broken record with him that it's always someone else's fault. And if I was at work and I wasn't performing and I was saying, "Oh, my laptop's too slow, my internet keeps breaking down," fucking like whatever it is, they'd be like, "Mate, enough of your excuses. This has been going on for 2 years. Like, you can get out of it."
And we're paying you 10 million a year. Get on with it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm certainly nowhere near that, but even so, do you know what I mean? Like everyone is expected to do their job and to take responsibility. And if you're on that much money, then yeah, take responsibility sometimes. Like, and just say it how it is. We can all see what the problems are. Like, so why don't you just be upfront and honest about it, and not constantly come up with these ulterior reasons why things aren't going right? And yeah, take some responsibility.
Yeah, I'm going to write a piece for the BBC website for Tuesday, and I am dreading writing it. I really am dreading writing it because I think I'm going to upset a lot of people.
Yeah, well, the thing is, you've got to be honest, Chris. If you feel that way, if you feel even positive or negative about him, you've got at the end of the day, at least you go away with it going, that's how I felt. I stick by my opinion, or that's how I felt at the time. That's what you got to do. I think there's one comment that, again, and I'll pass it over to you because it's something that we both saw yesterday, and we're just going to, because I don't think a lot of people have seen this one. James Maddison put disappointing results today, conceded at horrendous times, nice to be off the mark. Thanks to all the traveling fans. Cliche as it always is, cliche as it is, it still needs to be said. We really appreciate it. If you see edited, it also said afterwards, I think we missed it out, most of the players appreciate this. And so he's then removed it. But again, you said you saw it. I 100% trust you for that one. That sounds like the dressing room's a little bit breaking off to me, if that's to be perfectly honest with you.
It's not a great look, is it? But it's like we said with Fofana, I don't want to look too much into social media antics, if I'm completely honest. So, and also, I don't know if James Maddison actually runs his own social medias, if I'm completely honest. There's that. A lot of the players don't actually run their own social medias.
Rebecca Vardy does, doesn't she, for him?
I don't know. I think she's got some more things to be worrying about at the moment, if we're completely honest. But
like the magistrate court.
Paying off those lawyer fees. But anyway, yeah, it's not a great look, if we're honest. But at the same time, I'll give Maddison the benefit of the doubt because he is so committed to Leicester at the moment.
And he performed yesterday. He was one of the few performers that I could say, right, I don't have a problem with Maddison. He did perform, dropping deep, linking play, trying stuff. Don't blame him at all.
Yeah.
I think another point that I've got as well, just in terms of that, just with getting away from, fair enough. As you mentioned, I was like, yeah, fair point, no problem about that. It's in terms of some of the, again, I didn't see this that much at the match. I don't know if anybody saw this on telly or whatever, but Brendan's body language, apparently there was, when the goals were going in, arms down, not getting agitated, not getting after the team, or like, why is this happening? Very angry. Again, not every manager is angry. We know that Nigel Pearson was a lot sitting in the stands, kind of watching the game and then getting after the players in the changing room. But has Brendan kind of gone? Brendan kind of disappeared, Jeff? Because at the times I looked at him and I went, "You're trying things, but like it is on you, and the onus is on you." But it seems like even he's going, "I've given it up a little bit."
Well, fair to say that Brendan, I've actually never seen Brendan like raging mad like you'd see in Conte or Tuchel. So for him to react that drastically just by probably one of the worst 2 goals that we ever let in so quickly, it's just going back to what do you do? Like, what are you gonna do about it? How are you gonna react? And it looks like he's not reacting as quick. And I begin to question, why doesn't he make changes? Especially we're down 2-0 going into halftime. Why does he make changes within the first 5 to 10 minutes? Or if not, at the start of the second half? If you guys saw today's game against Chelsea, Tottenham put in Richarlison 56th minute. Yeah. And Brendan usually puts a sub in like the 60th minute, 65th minute. And yeah, it's just those things also play a part in how we're going to react to being down by 1 or 2 goals. Because if you have the same squad in the first half, the second half, the first 15, 20 minutes, the likelihood of you conceding another goal is 99 to 100%, especially how we're performing. So, yeah, it's just all about reacting, and Brendan Rodgers has not been reacting fairly well to these goals.
It's kind of like he's delayed. Like, it's honestly, like, the best way to describe it is the way Rodgers – like his decision making comes across on like subs and whatnot is like how I deal with my internet on a constant basis. Like I click something and it takes like 5 minutes to load. It's kind of the same way. Like, there's a situation and there's an issue going on. And with Rodgers, it's like, I'm pretty sure he recognizes it, but it takes him like 5 to 7 minutes to write it down in his little notebook to figure out, okay, maybe this is the player I should sub off. And it's just kind of seems like that's been another ongoing issue. It's just like, it's a constant delayed reaction, and by that time the match is already gone.
Yeah, and just by the goal that we got, the first one against Arsenal, the own goal, that was a gift. And from then on there, you should have made your sub within the first minute, or maybe soon after that. Like, just get Cliche Nacho, pull his shirt, and tell him go on. We're changing everything up. But no, it takes so much time for him to make a change.
To be fair to Brendan, and I'm going to defend him slightly here, It's for fans.
No.
No.
Chris is going to have a heart attack at this rate.
Yeah, when was it? 44 minutes.
But we're saying he's not massively animated, but even when things were going well for us, he was never the most animated character on the touchline. Even when we were like winning 9-0 at Southampton, he didn't really like release that. And
But
like,
he's still, isn't he? He just sits there and applauds.
yeah, but he didn't release it and celebrate until after the game with the fans. He's never been one to sort of run up and down the touchline. It's very much normally and then what's the one that he does when he scores? This is going to be a wrestling reference. You know Daniel Bryan? You can't see my hands, but just going like this. It's like for 2 hands above his head, like Daniel Bryan, yes, champ. But apart from that, he's never been animated either way when we like win or lose. So I don't think that's a new thing, if I'm completely honest.
Fair enough. Has anybody got any other points? Because I've got one final thing to make everybody smile before we finish, and it's genuine smile this time. Anybody else got anything else?
Yeah, just to ruin everything else, Nottingham Forest won.
Yeah, I know, right? After signing half of Europe.
They found a money tree, apparently.
To be fair, Nick, we're still above Man United, so that's your objective. So we might finish 17th, and they'll finish 18th. So it could still be.
I thought that might be Neil's point. So I was going to say.
Right. Can I just say something before we go?
Damn you, Tom!
Can I just say something before we go, Neil? At least we're not United. All right, see you later.
That was literally my point. I was going to bring up, where's it gone? Going to bring up this, and we go, yes, we conceded 2 to Brentford. At least it wasn't 4. And do you know what? I don't feel that bad for Man United fans. Should have probably been more, to be honest with you. So, yeah, we've got better owners than you, and yeah, so we'll get it sorted. But bloody hell, this is gonna sting for quite a while longer. And hopefully we can get something sorted out by Southampton as well. Chris, thank you for coming on. I've left your channel in the description, all your social media as well. Would you like to plug away?
Yeah, as you can see there, at Leicester TID on Twitter, Leicester TID TV on YouTube. And just following on from this show, tomorrow night at 9 o'clock, I've actually got Lee Judges from Arsenal Fan TV coming on to talk the game and to talk Tielemans as well. So that might be a little bit interesting.
He's on crutches at the moment. We saw him down on the ground. He's injured. So
he had a knee operation.
Oh, gee, fair play to him to get down to the ground. But make sure you go and check over Chris's channel. Again, link in the description. Jeff, I know you've got your channel as well. So well done for 100 subscribers, mate. Really happy. It's getting almost enough for me. You're going to smash it. Feel free to plug away as well.
Yeah, so YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Fox the Fox Report. You'll find me there.
Awesome. Yeah, link in the description. Tom, again, and I've put a couple of comments in your Friday show, but feel free to plug away to your fantasy football awesome team. And I know that Ben's been in the comments earlier, giving you a bit of roasting, but I was like, can't be asked, mate. So I think Ben Davis has been in the chat earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
Leave our ward alone. And all these Arsenal fans that were saying, oh, you should have taken Bert Leno. No. This is not a conversation we're having, but they were genuinely having it with me yesterday as well.
I remember this time last year, they were like, oh, Teta out. They lost their first 3 games. They lost to Brentford. They were, so a lot can change. I hope that's going to happen to us. I don't know if I can see it, but you never know. Next year, we could all think that Brendan's the man again. Let's see what happens.
I was on the channel last night, Arsenal channel, and I said, look, 4-2. You played like that. You made some great signings. Surely there is nothing you can moan about. And he went, yeah, I wasn't happy with the game management.
But yeah. Anyway, my fantasy show every Friday. I know a few of you are in the league. For those that aren't, I'll send around the link, and come check us out.
Or make sure to follow him on Fox and Fancy on Twitter. I think it's Fox's and Fancy AND on Twitter. So, and then it'll DM you a link. That'll be easy enough to do. And you're going live in a few minutes as well. So feel free to plug away.
Yeah. Ants Leicester fan channel. I'm practically on here pretty much every stream. You guys know where I'm at this point. I'm pretty sure. I say I'm pretty sure. I know it is because I copy and paste the description. Links
Yes.
are in the description.
I will be collecting royalties like the mafia, so you best. No, kidding. And Alex, feel free to plug away as well, since everybody else has.
You can find me at the Canadian Foxes. I am probably not a lot of people's favorite right now because I call it as it is, and I got a lot of haters. But if you like a Canadian's perspective of this, buckle up, grab your maple syrup, and enjoy the ride.
That's a hell. That needs to be the slogan. That needs to be in your bio. Grab your maple syrup and be prepared. Just before we go as well, just to let you know that we are doing a vote about what do you think Brendan Rodgers' futures are. It was unbelievably tight, and I thought again, Twitter is not a reflection of all social media, but or Leicester fans. But I thought it was interesting in terms of like majority want him out, but it's very close. Given till December, so what Chris was saying, that's the reason why I put December in, because of the World Cup, and then keep him for a while longer. So again, the fan base is, again, from an online perspective, pretty split. So again, thank you all for, again, the views have been great. Thanks for once in again from Argentina. I'd love to get you on as well. I know I messaged you before this as well. Would be really, really cool. But yeah, get in contact. We'd love to have you on. Make sure you follow everybody on the different social medias, and we'll see everybody in the next video. So goodbye.